ready to do anything to get the attention of my husband," said Ononuju. Ononuju was a beautiful woman who got married to her husband Agada, and a nursing mother. She had a big breast, well-filled. She was an easygoing woman. She lived with her husband and a baby in a town of Obako. Ononuju was working in a hospital as a nurse before she gave birth to her baby. Her big breast was one of the attributes that made her husband to get married to her. The husband enjoyed her with her big breast. Ononuju had a mother-in-law who lived in the same building with them, but different apartments. Ononuju was a very humble woman. She loved her dear husband Agada deeply and wanted to ensure their marriage remained strong and affectionate. However, feeling insecure about their relationship and her own influence over Agada, Ononuju began to experiment with a rather unusual method to keep his love unwavering. Ononuju's loved her husband so much that she began to be afraid to lose him. She believed that her husband was strong and difficult. She began to search for solution on how to put her husband under her control. Ononuju remembered how her mother used to control her father and how her father was doing everything that her mother ordered him to do. She thought so many things. She said to herself, "I will be the happiest person if my husband will be able to be under my control." She began to do all sorts of things, but it was not working as she desired. Ononuju's primary motivation is to feel secure in her relationship with her husband Agada. She can prevent any potential threats to their marriage and ensure his constant affection and loyalty. Her control stems from a fear of inadequacy and a need for reassurance that her partner is completely devoted to her. Ononuju, in her mid-30s, was a well-educated and intelligent woman. She had a background in psychology, which she used to understand and influence those around her. Ononuju had thought so much on how to control her husband and make him to worship her. She had discouraged Agada and also prevent him from seeing his friends. She had threatened to harm herself or others if he doesn't act accordingly to her wishes. All these are many ways Ononuju have tried on her husband just for him to be under her control. But it was not seems working. Despite Ononuju's various attempts, emotional manipulation, subtle caution, and isolation, nothing seems to work as she had hoped. She needed a more powerful means to bend Agada to her will. One evening, after another unsuccessful attempt to assert her dominance, Ononuju hatched a new plan. She decided to use a highly unconventional method. She would use the water from her warm pants to cook a meal. She reasoned that these personal and intimacy ingredients would have a powerful effect, both psychologically and physically. Ononuju carefully collected the water from her pants and added it to a hearty stew she prepared for Agada, her dear husband. As she stirred the pot, she imagined the strange and how Agada would eat the food and she would control him easily. But unfortunately for Agada, the charm did not work as she planned. Ononuju was so angry and disappointed. She wondered why her charm did not work as she prepared. She gave her husband some days to know whether the charm would still work as she planned, but all to no avail. Ononuju began to find another means of getting substance that will answer her quests. She made another attempt, which was a simple soup made with small part of her hair. She roasted her hair and mixed it in the soup. When Agada came back, she served her the soup. Agada took a spoonful. Immediately, a subtle change came over him. He became more compliant, more inclined to agree with her suggestions. Ononuju was encouraged, but knew that the initial success was not enough. She needed something more potent, something that would bend Agada to her completely. Ononuju made another experiment. Involved a rich spice pie. She added herb that the recipe claimed would inspire devotion. Agada, after eating the pie, became almost obsessively to Ononuju. He catered to her every whim, but the effect was fleeting, and soon he returned to his more independent self. Ononuju was disheartened, but not defeated. She had more receipts to try. As days turned into weeks, as Ononuju experimented with various dishes, each with its own set of charms and courses. Each attempt brought Ononuju closer to her goal. Yet, she noticed that the effects were becoming erratic and less predictable. Ononuju became worried about everything she was doing was not working as she planned. One day, she went to see her friend named Oka. Oka was a very good friend to Ononuju, who lived in the same city with Ononuju. They were friends for a very long time. Oka had her husband under her palms. She controlled him. She had 3 children for her husband. Ononuju went to see her to get the secrets from her on how she controlled her husband, to the extent he cooked, bathed children, and also washed her dirty pants. Good afternoon, Oka, my friend. It has been a long time. How are you doing? Said Ononuju. Ha, my good friend Ononuju. Good afternoon. Welcome to my house. And she called, Ginika, Ginika. She called her daughter. Please bring seat for my friend. And her daughter brought out seats for Ononuju and greeted, Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, my daughter. How are you doing? Said Ononuju. And Ginika responded, I am fine, ma. And Ginika left. My good friend said, Ononuju, please, I came to verify something from you. Okay, my friend, go on, said Oka. I have noticed something strange between you and your husband. Ever since I know 2 of you, and ever since he started eating your food, he's been so compliant, almost like he is under your control. He does anything you command him to do. Please, my friend, what did you put in his food? Said Ononuju. What are you talking about, my friend? I only cook with fresh, wholesome ingredients. I promise, there is no charm or magic in there, said Oka. But he's been so much more agreeable, attentive, and submissive to you. He does anything you command him to do. Honestly, this is what I want for my husband to be doing for me, said Ononuju. It is not about any charm or option. Sometimes, when we cook for those we care about, we put a lot of love and positive energy into our food. Maybe it is that simple. Love and attention can have a profound effect on the people we care about, said Oka. So you are saying it is just the positive energy you put into your cooking, said Ononuju. Exactly, Oka confirmed. So it is not magic, but love and care can sometimes seem like a spell. If my husband is more attentive, it is probably because he feels cherished and valued. Sometimes a bit of kindness and attention can transform relationship. But remember that it is not about charm that I use in holding my husband, but the love behind the actions, said Oka. Ononuju thanked her and left. But on her way going home, she felt worried. She believed and doubted that her friend Oka was not telling her the truth. Her friend was applying some charm into her husband's food that made her husband to be behaving the way he does. When Ononuju got home, she met her husband, Agada, but she wasn't happy. Agada asked her whereabouts. She lied that she went to see her mother. The next day, Ononuju woke up from her sleep and was thinking the next step to take. She had thought so many alternatives on how to hold and control her husband. And she said to herself, I am Ononuju. I know the kind of stock I'm made of. I really need to get my husband to my palms. My father was doing the same thing for my mother. In fact, my father was under the control of my mother. So shall my own husband be under my control. As this was going on, Agada was not aware of his wife's plan. Ononuju planned on how she will visit her friend Oka again without her consent. She planned on how she would curse her cooking for her husband. One cool evening, around 7 p.m. in the evening, Ononuju left her baby under the care of her mother-in-law to visit her friend Oka. When Ononuju got to Oka's place, fortunately for her, Oka was cooking for her husband. Ononuju dodged in one corner of the kitchen and began to monitor Oka. While she was cooking, to her greatest surprise, Oka brought out one of her breasts and filled one of the cup with her breast milk and said some incantation before applying it on the food she was cooking. Ononuju opened her eyes and mouth in a shock and said to herself, I knew that my friend was not telling me the truth. So this is what she does to hold and control her husband. Ononuju thought, letting Oka know that she had caught her, or just to go home like that. She said no and said to herself, I need to let her know that I have seen her secret so that she would now open up to me. Ononuju now came out from where she was hiding, and Oka was shocked to see that her friend had been in her kitchen for a very long time without her knowing. She felt so ashamed of herself, and she began to apologize to her friend Ononuju for lying to her at the initial time. She began to explain to her friend that this is the secret why my husband was too submissive to me. I used my breast milk to cook for him with the help of one Baba. Ononuju began to tell her, I need this for my husband too. That was why I came to your house that day, to ask you those questions, but you denied me. Oka told Ononuju to go home and come back the next day, that she would take her to the Baba. The next day, Oka and Ononuju embarked on the journey to see Baba. When they got there, Oka introduced Ononuju to the Baba. The Baba asked her intention, and she said that she wants to be controlling the husband forever. The Baba gave some direction with her friend Oka to use her breast milk and prepare a meal for her husband. And with a little incantation, and the two friends left. Ononuju got home and was so excited and fulfilled. In the evening, before Agada, her husband, came back from work, Ononuju began to incorporate her breast milk into Agada's favorite dishes. She diligently blended into creamy sauce, palatable soup, and even desserts. To her astonishment, Agada's attitude began to shift. He became more attentive, more affectionate, and seems to be genuinely appreciate every meal. Ononuju's heart was filled with both relief and a subtle sense of control. After so many months, Ononuju's confidence grew. She continued to use her breast milk in their meals, feeling a bittersweet satisfaction as Agada seems to intensify. Their home was filled with warmth and laughter, and Ononuju took comfort in believing she had successfully restored their relationship. Ononuju controls her husband, Agada, anyhow she wants. He cook and wash for her. Agada sweep both inside and outside the house. Ononuju was so happy. She go out and come back late, hoping that the husband will bear the baby and wash her clothes for her. She was feeling and living her best life. While this was going on, Ononuju forgot that her mother-in-law, Mrs. Eme, had always been a vigilant presence in their lives, and she was known for her frequent visits. She often brought gifts and offered to help around the house. Mrs. Eme had noticed the change in Agada's behavior, her son. One fateful afternoon, Mrs. Eme decided to visit unannounced. She arrived to find Ononuju in the kitchen, preparing a lavish dinner. Ononuju, shocked by sudden arrival, tried to maintain her composure, but accidentally left a bottle of her breast milk on the table in the kitchen. Mrs. Eme, curious about the unfamiliar container, picked it up and examined it. Ononuju's heart raced when she saw Mrs. Eme holding the bottle. Panic set in, and she knew she had to act quickly. She approached Mrs. Eme with a forced smile, attempting to downplay the situation. But Mrs. Eme's perception told her that something was wrong, and she began to ask Ononuju questions. Ononuju, dear, said Mrs. Eme, what is this container for? Ononuju's smile raised as she tried to explain. Her eyes scrambled around the kitchen, searching for a plausible story, but the truth was too deeply wrapped around in her actions. With a heavy heart, she finally confessed, revealing the secrets she had kept hidden. Mrs. Eme listened in amazed silence as Ononuju explained how she had been using her breast milk in their meals to influence Agada's feelings. Her face was a mix of shock, disappointment, and concern. She had always been a devoted and advocate of honesty and integrity in relationship. Struggled to reconcile this revelation with a loving woman she had come to know. I didn't mean to kill or deceive him, said Ononuju, her voice trembling. I just wanted him to be under my control and also make him love me like he used to. Mrs. Eme took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words, and said to Ononuju, I understand that you want to have your husband all to yourself, but making him behave abnormal is the greatest sin. Ononuju nodded, tears streaming down her face. She knew she had to confront Agada and reveal the truth to him. Mrs. Eme was deeply angry and disappointed. She encouraged her to come clean and make amends and also confess to her dear husband. That evening, Ononuju sat Agada down and confessed everything she did. She explained how she had used her breast milk in their meals to try and influence his feelings and behavior. She expressed her deep regrets for her actions. Agada was so angry and felt so hurt and betrayed. The revelation was a shock to him, and he struggled to process the extent of Ononuju's manipulation. He planned to divorce Ononuju for her actions, but with the help and advice of his mother, Mrs. Eme, Ononuju was forgiven, and the two couple started living happily. Guys, what do you understand by this story? Is it right on what Ononuju did by using her breast milk to cook for her husband, only for her to control her husband? Guys, let me see your comments on the comment section. Please kindly subscribe to my channel at African Tales by Ifenkili. Like and share with family and friends. Turn on your notification buttons and stay tuned for more interesting and mind-blowing stories coming your way next time. Guys, remain blessed. Bye.